the lower one, the light version, frog. Frog standing, you press the pedal down. You always hold it with your foot for the client, always, 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 always. Here you want to have a stable shoulder blade. Your hands hold the sit. You push off with the edge of your pinky and your chest stays like stone and does nothing. The only thing that moves are the legs, which go up. 2 red, green is fine. 2 green, 2 red, down is fine. From this position up, that's where I would go next. If you want to make the exercise easier, then from 2 reds, 2 greens, move the slider higher. Or higher reds then. The movement starts, you have a flat back. But you should have the feeling that you want to use the imprint to bring your pubic bone up under your belly. It's a very active work of the abdominal muscles. The hands are just there to hold stability. There, the stability comes from the shoulder blades, triceps, strength. Yes, there's strength in the finger muscles, but the movement comes from the belly, from the core. So exercise 1, just a little pumping motion. You drive it. The chest doesn't move. There's an alternative, frog standing back. The heels are together like a frog, in the frog position. The knees are about shoulder width apart. An alternative is when you grab the front side, open up your collarbones and shoulder blades, and your sacrum just lightly touches the seat for contact. There's also the option where you only allow your legs to flex. Then there's the option where you lift your pelvis and work with your hips. If you have a long torso, you can put your hands further back to reach the seat, to get some work done. And you move your knees forward into the distance, again controlling the movement and pressing slowly. You don't want to drop the pedal, you control it again by pressing down slowly. This is great if you want to stretch your flexors in some of those seated positions we did, or later for the triceps. And there's also the option to work directly on the triceps here, either just doing a scapular glide to train only the shoulder blade and then keep it stable while working with your legs, or you can also engage the triceps. And again, try to keep your shoulder blade wide. The range of motion doesn't have to be big. You can do all of this in the hips up position, just moving around in it. It's very playful. So those would be the frogs. And the frogs are actually the forward movement. The chest doesn't move, only the legs do. The opposite one, when you're working with your triceps, of course you're moving. When you're only working with your legs, the chest doesn't move. And here we also have pull-ups. A pull-up is basically when the pedal moves, the whole body rises. There, it's no longer fixed. A pull-up is basically a handstand. It's as if we were going into a handstand. It's the same thing. You grab the sides. You can do a variation. Depending on the client you have, a kyphotic client can go flat back, so we don't round them unnecessarily. You push off with your shoulder blades, and starting gently from the pelvis with a little impulse, you reach your sitting bones out into the distance, aiming to lift the sitting bones and hamstrings upward. And you want to keep your back as straight as possible, chest bone forward, butt back, and release the pedal as much as you can. And then you lower down. If your sitting bone starts to lift, imagine it touching the wall behind you so that alignment stays in place. And you can let your heel go down in your mind and sit as if you were sitting up high. And you want to completely release that spring, as if letting it go entirely. Then comes the round back, where you curl up, and in that curled position, through your lower belly, you look past your knees, all the way down there. And then we have another interesting shape that we can certainly practice with the legs. You can position them either like this, or I personally prefer to practice it in this particular way, because we absolutely want to consistently keep the pelvis facing directly forward throughout the entire movement. And when you bring that back leg forward, the pelvis doesn't tend to rotate toward the chair. It's more stable that way. I think it's more practical for that group. The arms go diagonally, one to the side. The other from the side, you push off and you go into that round back from the pelvis. In an arc, you push off with your hands, and what you want to lift up is your butt. You want to get that pedal as high as possible. And then you release. Yes, with an exhale. And the pelvis faces forward. You look at the pelvis. Relax. That's it. Here we should have those pull-ups. And let's try this out before we have the handles. And then we'll add them, so it's not too much for you. And we'll finish up. Then we'll only have 3 exercises left with the handles. Something nice and easy. With this, one leg stays in the corner of the machine. Again, there's that squat. Feel free to set it up so you don't have to guess where each pelvic bone is. And the other leg goes back. Why should the pelvis stay aligned when the leg goes back? And the same thing, flexion at the hip joint on the standing leg. And the pedal only goes as low as the height of the yoga block you set, so that we can actually keep the hips long here. Is that too much? I have short legs. See? It actually doesn't quite work here. And if you don't control the leg, this is what clients will do. Down there. Up. They'll go up through the knee. So you have that outer edge of the foot there. Keep the big toe firm so the knee stays out. You can easily tell the client, grab your thigh bone. Hold it. With the other hand, hold the glutes. And don't let the knee go out. Keep that thigh bone out. So they learn to work in that alignment. And then you can hold the hand loss again. You can go into genie. You can add rotations. At that point, it becomes more playful. Those are the lunges. Those are the step downs. That's already super advanced. That's where we'll be working. This was flexion. Extension in the hip joint or greater and lesser flexion in the hip joint. Now we'll be working on flexion in the knee joint. You're in a really deep squat. To get your foot onto the pedal, you can have a flat back or a round back. Again, it depends on what your client needs more. The chest and the upper leg aren't doing anything right now. Previously, the upper leg was working, but now the upper one isn't active. The difference with this lunge is that the lower leg is working. And it's going into extension at the hip joint, at the knee joint, into flexion. Yes, before the lower leg was just along for the ride, and now the lower leg is doing the work. Options. Hands can be on the chair, hands can be pressed against the knee, or hands can be behind the head. But the torso still doesn't move, and only the back leg is working. This particular exercise is also performed at a much faster pace, where you actually transition smoothly from the step down, moving upward and holding it firmly on the thigh, and then carefully down with a very stable pelvis. That's right, and I'm still exercising on that one leg. So you end up with a really great thigh. This is the exercise we're focusing on for this group, and they'll love it. Then we have something called the Russian. The Russian step down. There, you're really in a deep squat. I do it by bracing my cross behind and using the handles. And you go into that flexion and extension. It's really quite intense. You stabilize your pelvis, straighten and bend. You straighten, you bend, and when you're in that squat, the quadriceps is working even more. This is the kind where you go deeper, really. It's a treat. After this exercise, always stretch the gluteal muscles and the piriformis. Put your leg up, open up, and stretch. Always do this after finishing the exercise, because otherwise the person won't be able to stand up the next day. The point is, if they have any issues down there with the discs or the sciatic nerve, when it tightens up, it puts pressure on him, and the pain starts radiating from the side just from the overexertion, and he won't know what's causing it. So to prevent the glutes from getting sore there, you need to loosen them up a bit. And then we have the last one. I think it's the last one, press up with handles. This one works the upper limbs. And it's really a coordination of the whole body. You're upright, you push off from the handles. One foot, then the other goes onto the pedal. Here we can do a scapular glide, just moving the shoulder blade. Again, elevation, depression, a pretty nice exercise. If it's too hard, add a spring to help you out. The edge of the pinky side is what helps me, what pushes me off. There's the option for a triceps press, but again, only go as far as the shoulder blade stays open. Your ribs are perfectly aligned, and you perform a strong triceps press. You can do a small, controlled extension here, gently opening up your chest, and for those individuals who truly want a little extra challenge, you can carefully climb up even higher. And do the same on the other side. It's a very similar movement, only here there's a bigger opening of the chest because your arms are actually behind your body. Before, your arms were in front of your body, so you were also working on the shoulder blade. For those with kyphosis, it might be better to have the arms behind to help open things up a bit. The lower ribs and pelvis come together. Again, you can do a scapular glide, triceps press. Alternatively, you can actively incorporate that wonderful chest expansion, allowing for a noticeable and invigorating lift upwards, creating a sense of openness. Or you can just play around with it. There are also various group activities, where people in the group hold the position statically and rotate. But that's more like choreography. You can do it or not, they'll just be happy to do it 3 times and go home. All right, let's try it out. Okay, flip. With her pelvis supported. I'll try it now. She had her pelvis firmly supported, as if we were on the box. When you perform the swan, specifically the short box swan exercise on the reformer, and your pelvis is securely anchored, that is essentially what she was demonstrating. And she gracefully transitioned from that initial position. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, so here you're stabilized, like with your sacrum down, your torso is stable, you can get it here. It's like a harder swan. There's quite a lot going on there. The lower back is really working quite a bit there. But it's a stretch for the abs. What are you doing? Go wide, because otherwise you won't fit, you know, over the pedal. So chest and row. But in this one, it's fine. This is pleasant. This is pleasant, yeah. Long neck, ribs, pelvis connected. You push off, exhale, pull. One on one, pull the other. You're learning to make your arms work with equal strength when the pedal is split. And you could even add rotation there. I could imagine that. Right? This seems this could work. That actually makes sense.